Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Stockradar Stocks on the Move for another week. Today's date is the 4th of July 2024. My name is Richard Lee and I manage the stockradar.com.au website for you. Okay, interesting week. I'm going to talk a little bit about portfolios, firing up your stock picks using the portfolio process, which I'll just give you one little tip on later on. We'll talk a bit about that. Positive themes this week is the overseas markets are still very strong, of course. Dow's pottering about a bit, but the Nasdaq and the S&P are firing up. There's some amazing polarisation going on in that area, those big tech stocks. The bigger they get, the more weight they carry, so up those stocks go and up go the indexes. For us, the second positive is we've got a swathe of solid trending stocks on offer. The ones that we've been following, GQG, Magellan, Telex, Goodman Group, Pro Medicus, IAG, all been nice, steady, good trends that have carried on for quite some time. So it's all we need. We don't need a lot of stock picks, just a few. And I'll review our current 5-stock portfolio holdings a little later on, just so you can have a look at what I'm doing at the moment there. So it's always a pretty sunny day here at Stockradar as we try and focus on those stock picks that are trending up only. They're the ones we look at. Okay, so how do we arrive at that? We use filters, okay? Filters to break down the process, to break down the stocks process of elimination. And I discussed that more in the June issue at last week of the Stockradar newsletter. Okay, so let's now firstly go to the top 10. Okay, we had a few good stocks there on the front page there. Some of those stocks really well, but even these stocks are even different. It's another group of stocks that are doing well. Aristocrat's made new highs. Ansell's just creeping higher. Bendigo Bank's just made new highs. GQG's doing really well. You can see it here. It's since it's broke up from its trading range earlier this year, it's just ramped up from now 160 up to about 280 now. So trend intensity rating 10 GQG, it's a beauty. IAG's been steadily going high, although last week was interesting, and we have a look at that chart later on. NWL going well. Origin, Suncorp, T&E making new highs, and Webjet in there as well. So a good bunch of stocks there. So there's plenty of stocks that we can follow that are going up. Our stock pick count actually hasn't gone anywhere this week. It's flat at 62. We lost 2 and we gained 2. So as the roundabout goes on, stocks fall out, stocks come in, and that's the way it works. So we've got 43 stock picks of 156 stocks covered at the moment. Okay, so let's just go now to the overseas markets. Firstly, the Dow, as we saw before, it's sort of been pottering along sideways a bit. It's just in a little pausing trading range, no big deal. There's a bit of selling here, a bit more evident here than on the other indices. So it's stalled a little bit, so it's got a little bit of a challenge to go up, but the other markets have still been very strong. The S&P making new highs. Strong buying again. There's a big bar, red bar here. I don't know what that's all about because it didn't affect the price at all. So we won't worry too much about that one at the moment. The trend is up, and that's what we want. The Nasdaq also making booming new highs as those market capitalisations, some of those big stocks just goes through the roof. Okay, our market, well, we're trying, but we just haven't got there yet. So we spent about the last two or 3 months, actually since almost the start of the year, just travelling sideways, and we're probably going to have a good day today. But we still haven't got through that area. I think it's 7790, something like that up there, to get things more excited again and a few more stocks, hopefully pushing this index higher. Commodities, well, gold is paused at the moment, still in that little trading range, holding onto the gains, which is right. Copper, it's now come back to this area, starting to show a few signs of support down here at S1, which is probably a good thing. There's been some selling here. It's a bit hard to tell what's going on, but the thing, I think it has broken up. It's above the average. Momentum is still positive, so I'm still biased towards the upside of maybe a new retest of R1 at some stage soon. So we'll just see how this support holds for the moment. Okay, now Brent crude. Brent crude has it's just lifting off that support area, really not much to talk about there. There's nothing really glaring at it. We're saying it's going to be going one direction or the other at the moment, just a little bit of short-term strength for the moment. Okay, so now we can get to and have a look at a few stocks. So first we'll go to our Fish and Paykel, which we've been watching. It's just come back the last couple of weeks. There's no real damage to the trend there. There's been a bit of selling here after these big gains we've had. So we just monitor this one, know where our stop is and know exactly what we're going to do. But this is looking fairly good. The trend intensity rating is still up at 8. Volume's a little bit sort of different there, but momentum and moving average and price trend are all positive. So that still looks good, Fisher and Paykel for me. Insurance Australia, as I said, I thought it was a sort of a boring old trend that was going up and up and up slowly but surely, and a bit frustratingly so. But then all of a sudden, the last couple of weeks, especially last week, have a huge jump. You get a nice little upside surprise from IAG, and they sort of tend to come from stocks that are in uptrends anyway. That's when you get your upside surprise, and downtrending stocks will give you your downside surprise. So that's where they usually come from in most instances. So IAG is looking fine. The volume's good, momentum positive. We've got a good breakout here, and the big main resistance is up here at 850. Still a fair way to go yet. So we just hold our fire, lift our stop, and just follow this one high for the moment. It's been a good one for us, no doubt. Okay, Westpac, again, it's been a really interesting turnaround story, this one. We've seen the big downtrend we know that Westpac had from its highs at about $40. Then it's since come all the way down, and we've now seen this big reversal pattern here, high lows here, and we start to get this confluence of indicators here, the downtrend breaks, the moving average, and the horizontal line breaks here. So we've had a nice little rally from $20 to $27. It's just been going sideways a bit. It still looks okay. There's no real selling occurring here in Westpac, so it all looks pretty good to me. The reversal looks intact. The banking sector looks fairly strong at the moment, so we just continue to follow it, and we're hopefully looking for a new high on this one. So it's holding, and it's constructive, I think, for Westpac at the moment. Another one that's doing reasonably well is QUB, which broke out from a nice big trading range not long ago, had a little break up. It's pushing towards its recent highs again. The moving average is up, the volume's okay, a bit indifferent, so we haven't got a really high trend intensity rating, but it's still +8, which is in the strong zone. Momentum is also positive, so this all looks pretty good on Cube for this to continue. It's been a nice breakout of this trading range. We've got a nice little base below this now to support the price, so QUB is in a nice little uptrend at the moment. Okay, Ventia, so they're the corrective ones. Ventia, we've had a couple of trades, and this was one of my re-entry trades, this one here. We can see here, let me just work this volume up so we can see what buying we've got here. Okay, so we had a short trade here in Ventia. As you know, I followed this one a couple of times with you, I think, and we had a short little trade here, nice little breakout of a trading range here, a new listing. It jumped through here, had a good rally up, and then hit our stop, came back a little bit now. Then the selling wasn't too bad. Remember, we've got the two things: the down, sideways are up. The up is what we're interested in, and up it goes again. So it's held pretty well. But we've protected this trade here. We're now going again for a new trade. Okay, and we can see the rally now from this low point here. We can see some good volume, pushed this pretty hard, and we've got a nice little break up here a couple of weeks ago. So we've got a new high which triggers a re-entry in Ventia, and it's been going pretty well since listing. It started down here at 220, it's now up around 395 and looking pretty strong. So that's been a good one for us as well, and hopefully this new trade will also work out well. Okay, Santos, it's been an interesting stock, this one. Let me just blow this up a little bit so we can see a bit of history here. Okay, so we've seen Santos had a big rally, a couple of years ago through 2022, and then stopped up around here at around the $9, $8 level, and it's been going sideways for a couple of years. It sort of interests me because, we know when we get a breakout, we're going to get a good move, or the odds are that we're going to get a good move. So I'm just watching this one carefully. We've had a try here, it failed, a try here, it sort of failed, but hasn't really gone down this time so much. Volume's nothing big, momentum's nothing big, so it really is a stalemate. But I think you'll find if you start seeing prices move through $8 towards 9 and even above there, you're going to get some real excitement there, and that might be a new trend phase for Santos. So there's a few other stocks in this energy sector I've mentioned that are also looking pretty good at the moment. So you can go to Stockradar and check out which ones they are, and we might have a couple of breakups coming up in the next week or so there. Okay, so that's Santos and some of those energy stocks. I did look at the energy stocks in the newsletter last month if you want to check those out. Okay, so the next one I want to look at is one that I haven't looked at for probably a couple of years almost, and this is Woolworths. Now, I know that it's a bit of talk around the market about what's happening with these these big supermarkets. But I just thought we'd have a look at Woolworths, which has had since 2020 when it reached its peak up around $43. It really has spent the last 4 years, 3 or 4 years, sideways to down, and especially the last year or so, it's just been going down, 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 and it pushed down to here and got down to about $30. And then suddenly we sort of found a little bit of support here. There's been a bit of volume interest here. I can just blow that up a little bit there. Momentum's just it just tells me the down pressure is going, is easing. But so now what I've done now that I've got a little bit of evidence that there may be a turn, I start putting in a few things like I look at my downtrend line here, I look at a horizontal resistance point. This was the old support here. It'll probably provide resistance on the way up. And then I've got my moving average down here as well. So this is the confluence of indicators that derives my switch zone. And if I'm looking to get through there, I'm looking at good evidence there may be a reversal. So it's coming off low, we're getting volume. Early days yet, but I just thought it was one to interest. It's still trend intensity rating of -6, so there's nothing exciting at this stage, but this is the early stages. And it has been down for a long time. As rumbles happen, you never know where these new surprises will come from. So just keep an eye on Woolworths, and we might look at Coles in the next week or two as well, which I think is also providing a little bit of interest. So that's Woolworths. And on the other side of energy, not the energy stocks I was talking about before, but these two, Origin and AGL, are quite interesting. The sort of the gas suppliers. Origin's made new highs, as you know, and we followed this one quite well, and it's doing quite well. There's no drama here. Trend intensity rating is 10. It's rallied through the highs here. Volume's been positive enough, and the momentum's been bullish. So that's been a good one for us. But I'm also looking at AGL Energy, which is, for what's been happening here since its lows. We've had a low here. We had a good sort of reversal pattern here, which broke up and got a good rally, which is sort of like it's a bit of excitement. It means that there's a bit of a change in investor behaviour here as to what's going on. However, a lot of activity here, corporate activity and restructuring and hoo-ha going on down here, pushed the price right back down into this support zone, which was the old highs. Now, it was quite a big correction, $8, $12 down to 8. But still, that's the way it is. That's what happened. But now we've now got the price starting to rise again. It's pushed through the average in that downtrend. We're getting a little bit of buying interest here, not huge, but it's a little bit of buying interest, which is good on the upside there. And momentum is also turning positive here. So it's starting to look interesting. Now, this is quite low because AGL was a lot higher than this a long time ago. So although it may seem a while, I'm waiting for this $12 level to fall really before I really get interested. But the picture is building here for AGL. The trend intensity rating is -2, so there's no positive things yet, but we can see the building evidence occurring here that may end up in a trend building, a new uptrend occurring. And for R1 breaks, that's probably what I'm going to be looking at. So just one to follow, one of interest that I think is worth a bit of worth watching because they are interesting spots. These stocks, considering our energy concerns at the moment. Okay, so that's all the stocks I've got for you today. The market should be good today, should be quite exciting, which is a bit of fun. Have a good day in the market. I just want to talk to you a little bit briefly about the portfolio idea that I was talking to you about before. Firstly, I just want to go through the portfolio update, which I haven't gone through for a while. Markets have been pretty flat, and our 5 and 10 stock portfolios are starting to come back a bit more now. And you can see the 5 stock portfolio is now up at 15.8%. They're all full, by the way, except for the conservative. Which is 6 out of 10. It's just still generating 10.1. As long as they keep generating those sorts of returns, it's pretty good. Okay, 15.8, and this is increasing. I'm going to show you the graph in a minute. The energy, the 10 out of 10 is 12. The energy 10 stock is 12. And the two smaller ones here, which we started a couple of years ago, have struggled a bit, but they're now starting to pick up, and they do carry the weight of those couple of years, which was pretty sideways action there. So they're starting to look good, and it'll be interesting to see how they start performing over the next few months. With the other stock energizers going pretty well. Accumulation index is 8.8%. So if we look at that graphically, we can see here that up here the 5 stock portfolio up the top here. It's more volatile, but it's always the best returner. This is the mid-cap one, which we run as well, a mid-cap 5 stock, the 10 stock from the top 100, and then we've got the conservative and the accumulation index down here. So all our portfolios are performing better than the accumulation index easily. The 5 stock is now starting to rebound, which is a really good sign. 10 stock rebounding almost back to its highs, and the mid-cap never really went down that much. So the current holdings in this 5 stock that I have at the moment are IAG, which I entered last June, 7 Group, which I entered last November, Cochlear last December, Pro Medicus we got into in April, and Bendigo Bank is a new entry in a couple of weeks ago. So that's what it looks like at the moment. The 5-stock portfolio, all pretty good returns there at the moment. So we're just holding those stocks as they keep edging higher. And so that's the 5-stock portfolio. And the 10-stock portfolio, they're the 10 stocks that I have in there at the moment. You see the first 6 or 7, IAG, Wesfarmers, 7 Group, Cochlear, Goodman, Pro Medicus are all pretty incumbents. Pro Medicus is a little more recent. These are more recent entries. Newmont, ALS, Bendigo and Next. So they're the more new ones, which are still going okay at the moment. So that's the 10-stock portfolio. So that's what I've got at the moment. So I'm going to talk a bit about these portfolios because these are defined portfolios. So I just want to talk a bit about how you can power your portfolios, power your stock picks with your portfolio, so you're focused on the stock that really are moving up. So the ability to control how and when and what you buy can be leveraged from a portfolio level. So one simple and effective process I use is if I have a 5-stock portfolio which is defined, I'm also using all my capital because I divide my capital by 5. So I'm maximising the use of my capital, whether it's 5-stock or 10-stock. Okay, and if one stock falls out, like this week we lost 2 and we gained 2 in the stock picks group. So although one might fall out, often another one comes in. So they're generally pretty full, the portfolios, unless the market's really tanking. So there's always stocks going up, so we're always trying to keep these portfolios full, keep good use of our capital and power those stock picks. Hopefully that powers our returns pretty well. So this is a complete control parameter that keeps us focused on the stocks that are rising with valid trending attributes while maximising the power of your capital. So I always want to use my capital. For the most part, the stock market is trending up, so for the most part we want to be fully invested. So that's really what I'm doing. So that's just a little tip. Portfolios, define your universes, define your portfolio holdings. It gives you a lot more control rather than just adding them willy-nilly and taking them out willy-nilly, things like that. So that's really just a little tip I've got in the portfolios. Controlling your portfolio holdings is one of the many levers we can pull when we run a portfolio of stocks. Our portfolio service is aimed at holding your hand until you are comfortable running the portfolios yourselves and utilising the control techniques we employ, which are designed to make your life simple, easy and less stress-free. So there are lots of different things that I use like that to control my portfolio that helps me make sure that I'm always on the right side of things. So if you want to talk about it, get in touch with me and we can discuss the portfolio strategy. Anyway, so I hope everyone has a good day today. Looks like it's going to be. Watch your trends, heed your stops, stay safe, and I'll see you guys all next week. Thanks very much.